You think she's fine without you, but what if I told you she's already acting in ways you haven't noticed? The truth is, the moment she realizes she's lost you, everything changes. Her words, her energy, even the way she looks at you. Some signs are subtle, some are impossible to ignore. Watching till the end could completely change how you understand her mind and her heart. This isn't just psychology, it's the raw, emotional truth about female desire and regret. I want to hear from you. Comment your location below where you're watching from, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more insights that will give you the clarity every man needs. Don't just watch, learn, understand, and see the real signs she can't hide. Have you ever noticed how someone's energy changes when they truly understand that something or someone they value is slipping away? It's subtle at first, almost imperceptible. A glance lingers too long, a smile seems forced, or a message takes longer than usual to arrive. These aren't coincidences. When a woman realizes she's lost you, that her emotional landscape shifts in ways that are both fascinating and revealing for her, is both fascinating and revealing. It's not just about regret. It's about the awakening of a consciousness that suddenly sees the reality she can't ignore. This shift often begins internally before it ever shows on the surface. Her mood becomes a reflection of this inner turmoil. You might notice she seems distracted or preoccupied. Her laughter doesn't carry the same warmth, and moments that once felt effortless now require energy she didn't need to expend before. Psychologically, this is her mind processing loss, a natural mechanism to evaluate what she's allowed to slip away and what that loss means to her identity and her future. It's a silent, almost philosophical reckoning where she begins to question the choices that led to this point. In these early stages, she may overcompensate without even realizing it. Some women might try to mask their emotions with humor or busyness, while others retreat, creating distance that mirrors the emotional gap forming inside. Both reactions stem from the same place, an awareling to something precious is gone, in a mind struggling to reconcile with a lightning to reconcile desire with reality. Observing this behavior can be enlightening if you know what to look for, because these subtle shifts reveal more about her true feelings than any words ever could. What's remarkable is how the mind works in this moment. Loss triggers reflection, and reflection triggers clarity. Suddenly, memories that once seemed ordinary take on new weight. The time you spent together, the conversations, the laughter, even disagreements, they all become part of a narrative she can't escape. This is why you may see her revisiting old topics, mentioning shared experiences, or bringing up moments that seemed trivial before. Psychologically, it's her way of testing whether those connections still hold meaning, whether the bond she now realizes she's lost can somehow be reignited. Emotion also becomes more pronounced in her interactions. You might notice a subtle vulnerability in her tone, a softness in her expression that wasn't there before. She may hesitate before responding to your messages, or linger on words that carry significance. This isn't manipulation. It's a natural human response to the awareness of absence. Philosophically, it's an acknowledgement that nothing truly matters until it's at risk of being gone. It's in this space between presence and absence that raw emotions surface, unfiltered and genuine. At the same time, you might see her grappling with pride and ego. She doesn't want to appear desperate or overly affected, yet the contrast between her internal state and external presentation creates tension. This tension often manifests as contradictions, warmth followed by distance, engagement followed by withdrawal. Understanding this behavior requires patience and observation because it's not just about her actions, it's about the internal conflict driving them. She is balancing regret, pride, and desire, all while trying to make sense of what this loss means for her identity and future. It's crucial to recognize that this process is deeply human. Everyone experiences it differently, but the underlying psychology is consistent. Loss awakens reflection, and reflection awakens awareness. The intensity may vary, but the transformation is real. By noticing these subtle emotional shifts, you gain insight into her mind and the depth of her feelings, long before she explicitly communicates them. This knowledge allows you to understand not only her behavior, but also the underlying motivations, providing clarity in moments that could otherwise be confusing or misinterpreted. Ultimately, these early signs of emotional shift are more than just signals. They are a mirror. They reflect her values, her attachments, and her capacity for introspection. They show you how much the bond meant to her, even if she never said it outright. And for you, observing these changes offers an opportunity to understand, to empathize, and to navigate the dynamics with awareness rather than assumption. This is where true psychological insight meets practical understanding. So pay attention to the small things, the tone, the timing, the fleeting gestures. They are the language of the heart when words fail. These subtle cues reveal the unspoken truth, the emotional awakening that occurs when she realizes she's lost you. And in recognizing this, you not only understand her better, you also gain a deeper awareness of the human heart and mind. Remember this: the moment someone truly realizes what they've lost is never silent. It speaks through their emotions, their energy, and their presence. If you watch closely, you will see the story unfolding, and it will teach you more than any conversation ever could. Never underestimate the quiet power of emotional shift. It is the first step in understanding not just her actions, but the very nature of connection itself. Once she has fully grasped that she's lost you, something fascinating begins to emerge, an almost instinctual drive to reconnect. It's subtle at first, barely noticeable, but it is there. She might send a message seemingly out of nowhere, ask a casual question about your day, or bring up a memory she knows you both shared. These are not random acts. They are deliberate attempts by her mind to test the waters, to gauge whether there is still a spark, a possibility, or even just a sliver of connection left. Psychologically, this is her way of seeking validation, a subconscious plea to confirm that the loss is real and that it has impacted both of you. You may notice her reaching out indirectly as well. She might engage with your social media, comment on posts you didn't expect, or find ways to make her presence known without directly confronting the situation. These behaviors are not manipulative in the cruel sense. They are a reflection of desire mixed with hesitation, a pull between what she wants and what she fears. Philosophically, it's a natural human tension. We are drawn toward what we value, yet we fear the rejection or the finality that comes with pursuit. This internal dialogue manifests in actions that can appear contradictory, but underneath lies a clear psychological pattern. There's also a tendency for her to revisit shared experiences, sometimes bringing them up in conversation, other times just in passing remarks. She may mention a song you both loved, a restaurant you once went to, or even a joke that only the two of you understood. These are not coincidences. Her mind is searching for emotional touch points that can rekindle connection. It's as if she is mapping the emotional landscape of your relationship, trying to see if any bridges of your anniversary remain intact. The deeper the emotional bond was, the more she will unconsciously attempt to reach back across that distance, even if she doesn't fully articulate it. Another fascinating aspect is how she adjusts her behavior to test your response. She might soften her tone, become more attentive, or show vulnerability in ways she hadn't before. Sometimes she'll behave warmly, almost affectionately, only to retreat and create distance again. This oscillation is not indecisiveness, it's experimentation. She is observing your reactions to gauge the emotional impact of her presence. In essence, she is conducting a psychological experiment on the dynamics of attachment, loss, and desire. And while it may feel confusing to you, it's an important window into her thought process. In many cases, these attempts to regain attention are coupled with subtle signals of longing. You might notice lingering glances, the way she remembers small details about you, or the timing of her messages to coincide with moments she knows will have meaning. These behaviors reveal her internal struggle, a desire to reconnect paired with the fear of rejection. It's a complex dance between pride and vulnerability, one that is deeply human and profoundly revealing. Understanding these signals allows you to interpret her intentions accurately rather than misread them as mere coincidence or manipulation. It's also important to recognize the philosophical depth in these actions. When someone realizes they've lost a person of value, the mind naturally seeks to restore of existener, the true of the prabrium. She balances the emotional weight of absence with the hope for presence. Every attempt to reach out, every subtle gesture, is a manifestation of this search for equilibrium, and the length of these letter truants of the less true the actions for the legend fur in the Samar. Psychologically, it reflects the human need for closure, for understanding, and for emotional validation. Observing this process gives you insight not just into her behavior, but into the very mechanics of human attachment and desire. You may also notice moments where she intentionally gives you space after reaching out, almost as if testing your response to absence. This is not a game. It is an instinctual method of understanding how much her presence still matters to you. It reflects a deep psychological truth. We often don't realize the value of connection until it is threatened. Her attempts to regain attention, therefore, are as much about understanding her own feelings as they are about gauging yours. It's a dynamic interplay of self-awareness, desire, and reflection that speaks to the intricacies of human emotion. At the core, these behaviors reveal a universal truth about relationships and human psychology. When we perceive loss, our first instinct is to bridge the gap. Whether through direct communication, subtle gestures, or quiet reflection, she is seeking confirmation, understanding, and connection. This is the same instinct that drives all humans toward what they value most, yet it is filtered through the unique lens of her experiences, her personality, and the history you share. Recognizing this pattern allows you to observe, understand, and respond with clarity rather than impulse. Ultimately, her attempts to regain attention are both a mirror and a message. They reflect her emotional state, her longing, and her realization of value. But they also communicate an essential truth: connection matters. Every gesture, every word, every subtle effort to re-engage is evidence of attachment, of desire, and of the impact your presence had in her life. By noticing these attempts, you gain insight not only into her mind, but also into the dynamics of relationships themselves, learning lessons that extend far beyond this one connection. So pay attention to the signals, both big and small. Observe without judgment, understand without assumption, and recognize the patterns of human desire at play. Her attempts to reach out are not just about winning you back. They are about revealing the depth of emotion that comes from realizing what has been lost. And in that understanding lies a profound truth. Emotional connection is never lost. It only transforms. When a woman realizes she's lost you, one of the most striking things you'll notice is the contradictions in her behavior. One moment she seems warm and attentive, reaching out as though nothing has changed. The next, she pulls away, distant and almost indifferent. These oscillations aren't random or manipulative. They are a reflection of the inner conflict she is experiencing. Psychologically, this is the tension between desire and reality. She wants to reconnect, but at the same time she is grappling with pride, fear, and the recognition that some doors may have closed forever. Observing these contradictions gives you a window into her emotional world, one that words alone rarely capture. You might see her apologetic in one interaction and defensive in the next. She may try to explain herself, then retreat, unsure whether her actions will be received with empathy or judgment. This behavior is deeply human. It arises from the internal struggle between vulnerability and self-preservation. Philosophically, it is the natural consequence of loss. When someone comes to understand the significance of what they have lost, their mind simultaneously wants to express regret and protect themselves from further pain. These opposing forces create a visible push and pull in her behavior that you can observe if you know what to look for. Her emotional contradictions often extend to the ways she communicates. Messages may be affectionate one moment and curt the next. She may reminisce about past experiences, only to quickly change the subject when it feels too raw. This inconsistency is not a lack of sincerity. It's a mirror of her internal negotiation. She is learning to reconcile the reality of absence with the memories of presence, trying to find a balance between longing and acceptance. Psychologically, it is a form of self-regulation, a way to manage the intensity of emotions that can otherwise feel overwhelming. Another aspect to consider is the way she might test your reactions. She may engage in behaviors that gauge your interest or emotional response, intentionally or unconsciously. A compliment may be given to see if you respond. A question may be asked to determine your level of engagement. These tests are subtle, but they are deeply revealing. They show her mind attempting to measure the significance of her own absence in your life. Philosophically, this is the human tendency to seek feedback when facing uncertainty, to confirm whether connections still hold meaning, even after they have been strained or broken. It's important to note that these contradictions are not a reflection of weakness. They are a sign of introspection. She is navigating complex emotions, processing loss, regret, desire, and self-worth all at once. This internal turbulence can manifest outwardly in ways that seem unpredictable. Her actions may appear confusing or even frustrating, but they are grounded in a profound psychological truth. She is reconciling her internal world with the reality she now faces. Understanding this gives you clarity, allowing you to interpret her behavior with insight rather than assumption. In some cases, you may notice her creating space after moments of closeness. She may reach out, then withdraw, as if testing the boundaries of her own emotions and yours. This behavior is not meant to punish or manipulate. It is a natural mechanism for understanding the depth of her feelings. By observing the patterns, you can see the subtle ways in which she is grappling with both attachment and loss. Philosophically, it is the mind's way of seeking equilibrium, trying to stabilize emotional turbulence while navigating the complex terrain of human connection. These contradictions also reveal her process of self-discovery. When someone realizes they've lost a meaningful connection, they are forced to confront their own choices, values, and priorities. Her conflicting behaviors reflect the reconciliation of past actions with current awareness. She is learning to understand herself in the absence of what she once took for granted. Psychologically, this is growth in real time. The tension, the contradiction, the oscillation, they are all part of the journey toward emotional clarity and maturity. At the heart of this pattern lies a universal truth. Human emotions are rarely linear. Desire, regret, pride, and longing do not follow a predictable path. They ebb and flow, often in contradiction with each other, and this is most visible when someone realizes the weight of what they have lost. By recognizing this, you gain a profound insight not just into her actions, but into the human experience itself, the way we navigate attachment, separation, and the complexities of the heart. It is also a reminder that emotional clarity takes time. Just because her actions seem inconsistent does not mean her feelings are unclear. On the contrary, it is the very process of managing these contradictions that demonstrates her emotional awareness and depth. By paying attention, observing without judgment, and interpreting the signals thoughtfully, you can understand her mindset more accurately than any surface-level observation would allow. Ultimately, the contradictions in her behavior are a testament to the intensity of human emotion. They reveal a mind and heart in negotiation with reality, a soul coming to terms with absence while still clinging to memory. Observing this process allows you to see not only her inner world, but also the intricate dynamics that govern desire, attachment, and regret. These moments are more than actions. They are revelations. So when you notice the warmth followed by distance, the engagement followed by withdrawal, or the apology followed by defensiveness, recognize it for what it truly is: a window into the depth of her emotional awakening. Her contradictions are not chaos. They are clarity in motion. They show you what she feels, what she values, and what she is learning about herself in the process. And if you watch closely, you will understand something fundamental. Emotional truth is never straightforward, but it is always honest in its contradictions.